Bizarre Brain Comics.
Oh, hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, going off into the depths of deep space with Malibu's Deep Space Nine. Yes, this is from 1995, from the short period when Malibu Comics had the license for Star Trek properties. It didn't last very long. And they had a short-lived series of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And this is a one-shot, which fit into there, because this is part of their celebrity series. They had a series of, I don't know how many, just a few issues in which actors from the shows wrote the stories that they presented. And this, I know they had one of, I suddenly can't remember his name. The actor who played Nog, the Ferengi boy, did one. And I don't know if I've got that one or not. Then this one here was written by Mark Lenard, or maybe it's supposed to be pronounced Lenard. It doesn't matter. Mark Lenard, who's the actor who portrayed Sarek, Spock's father. Anyway, this is Deep Space Nine. The Malibu published this, or the Star Trek titles from 93 to 95, so this would have been right at the end of their period. And it is a number one, but because it's a one shot. And this is the first Deep Space Nine comic book series. It kind of had to be, because the show had just started on TV. And this story is called Blood and Honor, written by Mark Lenard, with art by Leonard Kirk and Ken Penders. Now, Mark Lenard, he was from 1924 to 1996. He was born Leonard Rosenson, as an American actor, and his most famous role was on Star Trek as Spock's father, Sarek, on the original series, on the animated series, in the films, and on Star Trek The Next Generation. But he also played the first Romulan commander. It's from the episode of Balance of Terror, in which they introduced the Romulans and the cloaking device. And he also played the Klingon commander in Star Trek The Motion Picture. And one of his other well-known roles was as the gorilla General Urko on Planet of the Apes TV series, on that short-lived show. So he had a lot of experience playing non-human characters. And he was born in Chicago and raised in Michigan. He joined the Army in 1943, and he trained as a paratrooper, but he never saw any combat, because that was in 43. By the time he got done with his training, the war was already over. And he was then discharged in 46. And he went to school, and he earned a master's degree in theater. And he worked in New York City. he did Shakespeare and a bunch of other dramas on stage. But he is best known for his TV and movie appearances, and he appeared in a variety of TV series and films throughout his life. He was also in no, Here Come the Brides. That was the name of it. Yeah, Here Come the Brides. Of course, Planet of the Apes, and he had many guest appearances as different characters on Mission Impossible. And of course, Gunsmoke. Everybody was on Gunsmoke. All Bonanza. All those TV shows back then. Here, and you can see, of course, in Deep Space Nine, had this takes place early in the run, and you can tell because it's before the Klingons came on board, before they had the Defiant, when they were just using the runabouts, and Avery Brooks, Captain Sisko, had hair. He looked much better with the shaved head and the beard. Oh, he looked so good then. It just doesn't look right with him with hair. So let's take a little look. Oh, and before that, I wanted to recommend a couple other YouTube channels. There's like a Classic Comic Collector. I like that one. And there's another one I've only watched a couple of them on. Is called Flight Ringers. That's right, Flight Ringers. And as far as I can tell, it's a channel dedicated entirely to the DC's Legion of Superheroes. Okay, and here we go. And in case I forgot to mention it, this here is Mark Lenard's photo here on the cover, and here is the character that representing him, looking like him, this as a Romulan here on the cover. And there's that again. Here we come to the splash page, or yeah, this is kind of a splash page. Runabout returning to Deep Space Nine through the wormhole with an artifact that they discovered. And one of the characters in here is her name is Jay Kirk. She is a pivotal character in the story. She is a descendant of Kirk's nephew, Captain Kirk's nephew. So that ties some things together here. I have good resemblance to the actors in here. They returned to. There was an accident. An event, and as soon as they make contact, Dr. Bashir, who was on the runabout, is beamed directly to sickbay because of an emergency. And here we see this character here. He is a Romulan ambassador, and it turns out, spoilers, he is the son of the Romulan commander who faced off against Captain Kirk in the episode of Balance of Terror. That's why he looks just like Mark Lenard. And it was an accident. It turns out the ambassador's ship had arrived. Everything was okay. But something happened as soon as they went to open it up. At the docking bay, there was an explosion, and this one Starfleet officer was killed in the explosion. Now they're conducting an investigation, trying to figure out how and why, and it is dealing with the Bajorans. He is here to discuss relations with the Bajorans. Meanwhile, the science people on Deep Space Nine are examining this artifact. There's some weird stuff going on. And one of the Romulans, in the party has come down sick and gone to sick bay. And here we see the Romulan ship, their massive ships in orbit around Deep Space Nine. And they're talking, and we find, because trying to get to the bottom of this situation, not knowing what is going on, and the ambassador is a bit secretive, as Romulans tend to be. And here we see that he was being spied on by Odo, who had been a piece of the furniture. Then Odo is talking with Quark, trying to get info about him. From him, he says, "Oh, some people are interested. No, in that artifact, but all the interest he's hearing is because they're suspecting the Romulans may be interested in something about this artifact." Well, and it turns out that it's Bajorans who are interested in the artifact. And here, emergency happens. Somebody has broken in, and zap, zap, zap is the intended thief is killed when he touches the artifact. And in the process, one of the Romulans had been killed too. But he had been murdered, been killed by the thief, who turns out to be a Bajoran. Still trying to figure out what's going on. Talking with the Bajorans. Here we see that Sarek. See, silly. The Romulan ambassador has taken an interest in J. Kirk. And they're talking, at this point, we don't know that he is the son of that Romulan commander. And the artifact has been... Then we find that the artifact has been stolen. They follow the thieves down, and it is a small contingent of renegade Bajorans who snatch the artifact, thinking it's part of their religion and conducting some kind of rite. And zap kablooey, all the Bajoran thieves are disabled, and we find out that the thing housed the consciousness of the very last of the Organians, who had, from the Errand of Mercy episode, which introduced the Klingons, and in which the Organians had prevented the Federation and the Klingons from going to war. But it turns out he is the very last one. And they talk about that. This is when he reveals he is the commander of they had kind of surreptitiously contacted the commander, the ambassador, trying to patch things up, make some restitution, getting for peaceful relations between the Federation and the Romulans, utilizing the Romulan ambassador, the descendant of the Romulan commander, and the descendant of the Kirk family. And that is how that is resolved. All the bad guys are put away, and all of that good stuff. And it was a fun read. It is especially nice to have read this, having been written by Mark Lenard. Now, he probably just provided come up with the basic plot of it, and then their own writers fleshed it out, etc. But it is a fun read, and if you followed me, you know I'm a big Star Trek fan, so it's when I got this a few weeks ago, and I showed it in a hall, and I was thrilled to get it and anxious to present it to you in more depth. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Are you a Star Trek fan? A Deep Space Nine fan? What part of the Deep Space Nine do you like better? And do you remember Mark Lenard? Oh, yes. He was a wonderful actor, and he part of the reason he got the part as both the Romulan commander and the as Sarek is because of his strong resemblance to Leonard Nimoy. And yes, especially when I was trying to do a drawing of him. And the more I drew him, the more he looked like Leonard Nimoy. So, yes, they bore strong resemblance to one another. So leave your comments below. And remember, even in the depths of space, comics are art.